For most reports or most documents that are created, it's important to have page numbers so people can find their way around the document. And the default is just to number the pages 1 through whatever page the document goes through. And so we can look at the table of contents as we have just generated the default table of contents, and we see that we start on the disclaimer in this report on page 3. The cover page is page 1, and then it goes onward. Now, traditionally, you'd like to start with the introduction as page 1, and we actually see that as page 7. So typically for reports I like to create, I like to use Roman numerals for the preliminary information, so the executive summary, the acknowledgments, disclaimer, table of contents, and then begin the introduction on Arabic numbers starting at page 1. So we can insert page numbers. So if you double click in the footer or go to insert footer, we can insert a page number in the current position and just using a plain page number. So this is what we see showing up in our current table of contents. So to create different page numbers in different sections, different parts of the paper, we need to insert section breaks. So we know that we want one of those just before the introduction. So we can go to page layout, breaks, and insert a section break on the next page. We actually bring that introduction section back up. And if we turn on all of our editing marks, we can show, hide, and this is on the home ribbon, clicking the paragraph button. We can see that now we have a section break on the next page. So I don't usually like to leave those on, but that's the way you can see that. Also, if you double click in the footer, you'll see now that there's a section 1 footer and then a section 2 header and footer. So we'll see this is the way Word will let us use different headers and footers. Also, I typically don't want a page number on the cover page, and in this report I've also inserted a blank page behind the cover page so that there isn't material printed on the back side of the cover page. But currently we have page 1 and page 2. So on page 2, I'm actually going to insert another page break. Delete those extra spaces and get our disclaimer back on page 3. So now I can go into our footer. Actually, I deleted the page break. Let me insert that page break again. So page layout, section break on the next page. And let me check and make sure it's still there. Yeah, so we see our section break on the next page. And we see in our footer here, we still have page 1 and page 2 on our introductory material. You can just delete that, but we see it did delete our other footers. The way we can have it not do that is by going to our second section and unchecking the link to previous. So the default is to link the page numbering and the footers between sections, but we can unselect that option. And now if we delete the page numbers in our first section, which is the cover page, and the blank page on the back of that, will have no more page numbers there. And so now we see starting on the disclaimer page with page 1. And actually for this I'd like to have Roman numerals. So we can go to Format Page Numbers, change this to Roman numerals, and now we have our disclaimer starting on page 1. So if we go back to our table of contents next, we can update our page numbers, and now we're going to see our disclaimer starting on Roman numeral page 1, and then our introduction starting on Arabic number 1. And this is what I would prefer for the report style. And it's also possible, if this number is off, it's possible to go into this, and again, this is the footer for section 3. These page numbers can be formatted in a different style, or to start at number 1 if for some reason it's starting at a different number. So this is the way we can use page numbering in Word. And again, the big secret here, or the big trick with page numbering is that if you want different styles or to not include in certain areas, that section breaks are really the key to setting up those page numbers in the footer or in the header.